Hey everyone, welcome to another week's training on Scented Success Academy. That is a mouthful to say that in itself. All right, so this week we're going to be talking a little bit about partying, types of parties. I actually recently, in fact, I think if I could figure it out, I'll see if I could share a photo in the training on this YouTube channel, so that way you can see an example. But I did an event this last weekend, and one of the tables that I had set up on a smaller table, but I had it set up to where it had all of the party ideas and concepts that I'm about to show you and break down on, as far as what it is, what you can put in it, all the details, etc. I wanted to start doing something different for my events, where one of the tables was set up to focus either on hosting parties, so party ideas, party concepts, getting people to, provide the information to me that I could follow up with at a later time. Other events I plan on, if not doing that, then I want to focus on the join special. What does the join kit look like? Sharing my story, printing out photos of like Scentsy events that I've been to, that my team's been to, what we do on like a monthly basis, quarterly basis with our teams, with our friends, etc. So anyways, that's beside the point of the training, but I just wanted to walk y'all through a little bit about party ideas in itself. So put it into perspective. I joined in 2019, late of 2019. And if you're familiar with that time, segueing into 2020, when I joined, I already knew, based off of my friends' experiences with them being affiliated with other companies, that online partying at that time was where it was at. Facebook parties, mostly Facebook parties. I tried Instagram. That was really hard. I always say try everything once. If you don't like it, it doesn't work out, it's okay. At least just try everything once. But Facebook parties was where it was at for me. Oh, in case you are wanting to know what I'm drinking on, and you're in Texas, it's the citrus tea from Gringos. If you've never tried it before, you need to try it. We don't buy the gallon that often because it's that good. But anyways, I just thought I'd little nugget information. I just thought I'd throw it out there. So if you like citrus tea, try it out. Anyways, so parties. Facebook parties for me were a lot of fun. They're still happening. They're still happening. I actually just closed one out from this last March. You can still do them. I highly recommend them. Especially if your customers or your host, you could see, like, is on social media a lot. It's worth trying. However, this is not that training. This training is if you are like me and you're wanting to get out more, if you want to meet more people, if you want to get off of social media, not entirely, because I love making reels. I love doing this. I love recording trainings. I love my podcast. But when it comes to, and this isn't just, if you're watching this, you're not a Scentsy consultant, I just want you to know that this video is for you too, because you could substitute in whatever it is that you're affiliated with business-wise. You can do the same concepts, just whatever it is that whatever your business is that you're affiliated with. But Scentsy products, Scentsy in general, or just products in general, I want to goal myself this year with having more in-person parties. I want, if not in person, like a home party, a restaurant party, we'll get into that in a little bit, but really just connecting with customers, potential long-term customers, face to face, whether it's a bag party, in person, just point is like off of social media. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about the different party ideas. So I'm going to start with the more simple, these are going to be ones that you're going to hand off to your host, where simple, however, there's a little bit more work involved for them. So, okay, so let's just go ahead and dive in, and then I'll explain to you where, like, the potential hosts that I look at and connecting with, like, different types of parties. So first out the gate, let's talk about this one. So you don't have to have a fancy bag like this one. This one was actually gifted to me. It could be a regular pencil pouch, but just something small. We're going to show a bag party here in a little bit, but this is more of like a pencil pouch party. I just call it a bag party as well, but it's really cute because it does say walking party. I know that. But point is that the smaller the bag, the better. The reason why I say that is because this type of party is going to be for your potential customer or your current customer, your potential host, I should say, that has a busy life. Like, they don't want to tug around any more than they have to. Maybe perhaps it's going to be somebody that that just, you feel like that they might be burdened, or maybe, actually burden's not the word, but you feel like they'll be overwhelmed. This is for the person that is already familiar with Scentsy products, that they order from you on a regular basis. The reason being is that this is going to be short, sweet, to the point. This is something that you can honestly even bring with you and meet up with somebody that is your host with a couple of their friends at a restaurant. This bag can be something that you can bring with you to even your day-to-day activities, whether you're meeting other like-minded moms, friends, whatever, at kids events, at kids sporting events. This is if you're going to like meetings, you can bring this with you. If you have doctor's appointments, bring this one with you. This one for sure, especially if you have like dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, anywhere where there's like a waiting room involved and there's somebody that's taking calls at like a front desk situation. This is the bag. So I'm going to show you what I have in here real quick, to the point. I always have at least maybe 1 to 2 pens in there. I don't always want to assume that whoever has this bag in their possession has a pen. So if you want to get fancy, Scentsy does sell through the consultant store. I still believe they do. Pens with like your information on them. Otherwise, just toss any kind of pens in there. I'll say too, whatever pens you toss in there, just put it in your mindset that they may not come back. Because who doesn't love a good pen, right? So a couple of things that I have in this bag. I have the flyer. Again, you can get off of the Scentsy Consultant store that talks about joining. So there's that. I have my contact information on there. You always want to have your contact information, by the way, on anything that leaves your house. It always has to need. You want to put your contact information on there no matter what that looks like for you. I printed off a couple of order forms. I didn't go crazy. I think there's like 3 or 4 in there. I also put my contact label on there as well. It looks like that, if you can see it, but it's a bigger version. So that way they can scan the QR code that's on there, and it's going to take them directly to my website. So that way, if they want to place their order and have it directly sent to them, they can do so. Otherwise, they're going to fill out the form. The other thing that I folded up in here, because of this specific odd shape of this bag, an actual full catalog did not fit, and that's okay, because I folded up in a little like 4 square the showcase brochure. Also, of course, that's labeled as well. If you have scratch and stiff stickers, by all means put them in there. However, I testers, I was very fortunate enough to attend World Tour, and we got separate sets of the 10 new fragrances. So that's what I ended up doing, was I took one of those bags and I emptied it in. So there's testers of the 10 new fragrances that are in this bag. That's it. If you have any other samples on hand, it does not necessarily hurt to add them into here. Just use whatever you have on hand. But the point of this bag is that it's simple, to the point. Before you hand this bag off to whoever your host is, you want to make sure that you first and foremost establish that you're going to want this bag back. Okay? That's important to have that conversation with them. However, if you feel like whatever you're putting in that specific smaller bag, that you are like, bless and release it, I don't need it back, by all means, let them know. You just have to let them know ahead of time. Make sure and have your customers, your host, shopping link set up ahead of time. You want to make sure and get all of their contact information from them if you don't already have it already. Set up that shopping link with them. Before you hand the bag to them, let them know. Be like, hey, I always personally, especially, let's just say I'm not going to hand it to them in person. For example, I do a lot of porch pickups now. Now, not this bag, but there is a clear, like, poly mailer type bag that I did last month. and I think I made up about 10 or 15 of them with whatever samples I had on hand, including not the testers by all means, but it was scratch and sniff stickers. And anyone who did a porch pickup with me, I put that poly mailer type bag in there in their order. I went like this, took a picture just like that. I texted to them and I said, you know, hey, so-and-so, just let you know your order's ready. It's on the porch ready for you whenever you want to come pick it up. By the way, I added a little party bag, no pressure, adding it to your bag for your order. Share it with friends and family, and then I'd let them respond. Once I saw on my Ring camera that they picked it up, I then proceeded to text them and I said, hey, thanks so much for your pickup. I really appreciate you. By the way, here's your rewards link. It's attached with your party or your whatever you want to call it. I just said the party bag. It's attached with your party bag, and then be like, hey, you can text this out to your friends and family. You can post it on social media, and then whatever else you want to say from there. For me personally, I say it's good until the end of the month. And then just go from there. It's just however you want to do it. Sometimes I know that if you want to maybe even, you don't even honestly have to show what's in here. Just have a little bag, take a picture with it, text all of your customers that you feel like are potential hosts, maybe perhaps the ones that are interested in placing an order with you and they've messaged you and they're like, hey, I really want this product. I'd like to place an order within your group order. Reply back and be like, hey, thanks so much for reaching out. I really appreciate your business. By the way, I have this ready to go. I'd love to be able to get you your product for free or half off, provided it's not licensed or on clearance, right? However you want to go about that. But the idea of it is just that party concept is super simple, sweet, to the point. You don't have to overthink it. It doesn't have to look perfect. Like I said, this is something that I did not buy. It was gifted to me. Your bag can look like whatever you want. Just the idea of it is that the smaller the bag, the better. All right, so that's that one. Moving on. Let's talk a little bit about like party ideas. So this does not have the word bingo above it, but it is a bingo sheet. So this is actually how I kept track whenever I do online bingo parties. So if it's online, in person, you can pretty much do the same thing. I actually have like the one pieces. This is just to help me as the co-host track what numbers are being called. Bingo parties are a lot of fun. There's so many different ways, honestly, that you can go about it. There's nothing wrong with getting a little fancier if you want to. I know that if you go to even like Canva, Google Images, there are a ton of different sheets that you can print off for free that are bingo numbers, bingo sheets, and you can pass them out in person. I think it's a lot of fun. I've actually only done it, I think, once or twice in person. Like we met up at a restaurant and everyone ordered their food. It was one of those where there was like no servers, no people like that. You went up to the window, picked your food up, sat back down, and then we played bingo, and that was a lot of fun. The cool part about too is that whenever you're playing like a bingo game like that, you only need a couple of people. You don't need a lot of people. I mean, obviously the more the merrier, but you only need maybe, I would say, like at least 2 to 3, even 2, honestly, people to play bingo, and it's a lot of fun. You don't have to overthink it. I know in the past couple years I've downloaded free apps on my phone that called out the bingo numbers, so that way I didn't have to have the pressure of doing so. There are easier ways too to go about playing a bingo game with your host and their customers, even if you're online or in person. I know in the past, before we did the party, whether online or in person, I would ask the guest and the host to pick out X amount of numbers for their bingo game. So for example, you could say, reply back to this post or let me know ahead like what your 10 bingo numbers are or your 20 bingos numbers are. Just know and note that the more numbers that they're selecting, the longer the games are going to go for. So if you're going to be in like a restaurant setting, for example, it's not a terrible idea to have like 15 to 20 numbers for them to choose from. And it could be at random. The fun part is, and then where it should make it easier on you as the co-host, is taking those numbers that they're selecting, putting them in, whether you're writing them down and selecting them or you're putting them into an app, whatever that looks like for you. And then calling their numbers out. If it's online, it's actually a lot easier when you're doing it online. I've done those plenty of times in my Facebook online parties, because what I'll do is I'll take like a sheet of like regular computer paper, whatever numbers that the party hosts have chosen. I go back on the post, I write all their numbers down. It doesn't have to be in order, preferably not in order. Just write them down at random. And then whenever I go live, I'll typically, let's just pretend like this is a computer paper. I'll go live, I'll have it beside me so that they can't see it. And then I'll look over and I'll just start calling out the numbers. They don't have to know that, because the thing is that you don't really want any like strict rules or guidelines, because that's not any fun. But the easier that you can make it on yourself and your host and the party guest, the more fun they're going to have. More than likely, they're not going to assume, oh, she wrote all of our numbers down. She's just wanting us to hold us accountable to make sure who's playing, who's interested. They're not really going to click to like, oh my gosh, she's hand selecting our numbers. They're more excited about playing a game. It's taking their mind off of the everyday mundane things, right? And then the point is that you're just having fun. So I know a lot of times I get asked whenever we talk about like games that we're playing, parties that we're having, if there's prizes involved. By all means, you don't have to have prizes. Again, the simpler, the better. It could be like a sheet of stickers. Don't overthink it. Don't break the bank. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. Just use what you already have on hand. I'm probably going to say that several times during this training. For example, I am not one to keep my testers from the previous season. I'm spicy brain, y'all. I'm neuro spicy brain, ADHD big time. And the thing is that it makes me feel better to cleanse my office space and it's not like I'm throwing them away, right? Like I'm actually repurposing the testers, but I'm not one to, and I would love to like put them aside and that would be, that's a different version of myself, right? Like I'm going to hold on to them, and the next catalog season, I'm going to shuffle through them and save a little bit more money. But that's just like too much brain work, y'all, honestly, for me. I would much rather wait until like next catalog season and then just order the tester kit as it is, whether it's the whole, kit and caboodle, or if it's the transitional ones. Either way. Like that just like hurts my brain right now, honestly, just thinking about it. So whenever we are done with the catalog season, I will get rid of all those testers. Well, I shouldn't say get rid of, because that's not what I do. I'll pull all those testers out of my little divider kit, right? And what I'll do is I'll put them in a little clear baggie. These bags I just happen to have on hand, but I usually will put them to a bag. This can also be something that could serve as your prize when you're playing your bingo game for whoever your winner is. And then now if you want to, I actually have stickers that I need to put on here that does give instructions as far as how to put these in their warmers, but that can honestly be a prize. People don't care, because the thing is that it's free for them to play, right? They don't have to do anything or buy anything to play bingo. It's for free. It's whoever wants to play. So they're not going to have anything, or they shouldn't have anything negative to say, hopefully not, to your prizes, because I don't know about y'all, but I don't care what the prize is. If I win something, I'm excited. I don't even care what it is, just the sheer fact that I won. Another prize that you can do is I love ordering the 3 packs of the scent circles, and I'll divide them up. And this I do use a lot of times throughout all of my party concepts for prizes. And I love anything colorful and fun, so I'm always going to add a little pizzazz to the sticker. You can even, to the scent circle. You can also add a little cute sticker to it if you wanted to take it a step further and just be a little extra. It could even say like congrats. If you want to make it more personal, you could always flip it up, get your pen, and then write on the back side of it, especially if you have a specific winner ahead of time, especially if you're playing like an online game, then you can write on it, congratulate them for winning, drop it in the mailbox, and then you're good to go with like one stamp in a regular envelope. All right, moving on. Let's talk about, okay, so this isn't exactly something that you would bring with you, but it's just a topic of conversation. I actually had put this together for my table that I had set up last weekend at my event. But so this idea is a lot of fun. I'm a big coffee I like tea. Obviously, I'm drinking iced tea right now, but I love coffee. And one of the easiest things that I have found is meeting up with my friends for coffee. Normally, I'll just bring my testers for us to just sit down and smell. I'll bring a catalog for them, catalog for me. We'll look through it together, smell the smells. That's it. So this is where this came in mind, is that I put this on my table, and anybody who came up to me and asked me like, oh, what is that for? Oh, that's a cute mug. You know, where'd you get it? Or I know I had some people this last weekend, they were like, oh, I'm a coffee drinker myself. You know, what is this? Well, it started a conversation piece for me telling them like, oh, I love meeting up with my friends and some of my customers at random, at a local coffee shop. I love supporting small businesses. So that is an idea of what you can do. Don't overthink it, you guys. Whatever you have fun with. Like if you love drinking smoothies, there's so many smoothie places, I feel like around here in Texas where I live, in my area, that you can meet up there. Think about like whatever it is that you're passionate about. What are your day-to-day activities? Do you have a dog that you take to the dog park? Well, text a couple of friends that also have dogs and be like, hey, I was letting you know I'm taking my dog so-and-so to the dog park next week. I'd love to be able to meet you there. Let me know if you're free. Again, bring your testers, bring a catalog. When you're doing something like that, obviously you're not going to want to bring a big bag or anything like that because you're at the dog park. It's going to be something that's going to be easier for them to walk off with. So that's going to be where this little bag is going to come in handy, right? Because you could just bring that with you. If you're needing like an excuse, then just say, oh my gosh, it's so hot outside right now, because, you know, in Texas, our weather is so unpredictable. Be like, hey, I didn't know what today's weather was going to be like. I had these, because they're going to hopefully already know you're a Scentsy consultant. Say like, hey, I had this bag in my car. I couldn't leave it out there. I needed to bring it with me just to make sure no one breaks into my car, or I just wanted to make sure that they didn't melt. I'm bringing them with me. More than likely, again, because hopefully they do know that you're a Scentsy consultant or whatever product it is that you're selling, that they're going to be like, oh, well, what's in there? Because you're not going to, at the time you've hopefully released your dogs in the dog park, right? Provided it's closed in. You're sitting down, you're enjoying yourselves, you're socializing. If you're like me, I'm definitely a huge ambivert. Unless I meet somebody there that I know, if I don't know anyone there, it's definitely going to be very awkward for me to strike up a conversation. But if I have something like this that I'm either working on or have it beside me, it's a great little segue icebreaker into talking about what it is that you have and what it is that you do. All right, so let's see. I think the last party concept that I wanted to talk about is it's pretty much similar to the smaller bag, but it's a bigger version. So this is going to be like a takeaway bag, a bag party. So I'm trying to think of another way that we would word that. Basically just that, I guess, like a bag party. I want to say, I think, oh, I had it here. Look. So this is what I had set up at my event last weekend. I don't know if you're going to be able to read it or not, but I had this in a frame, and I had it beside all of my little party ideas, and it was in a frame, so it looked like this. I'm just going to read it out to y'all so you don't have to read on the screen. It says, host a Scentsy party your way. So this was actually borrow my bag as well. So I listed a couple of ideas where it says, want free and half price Scentsy, let's party. So I listed a couple of ideas as far as how they could party, because the reason why I wanted to go into more detail about the party ideas, especially to potential long-term customers or newer customers, is that I want them to know that it's beyond just social media. It's beyond having a party. I feel like that everyone works their party so differently that it could be that maybe they didn't have the greatest experience the last time they hosted a party for somebody. I feel like that they get hung up on the idea that it's daunting, that it's not going to be fun, that it's just like, oh my gosh, you know, one more thing I have to fit into my schedule, and there just feels like this huge unnecessary task, and they don't know until they know. So if I can help explain to them, hey, what is it that you love to do? Oh, you love to go play bingo? Well, I can meet you there. I love to play bingo. And then you bring your small party, your catalog, your showcase brochure, a couple of testers, your scratch and sniff stickers. That's something simple, something small. It's going to not take up a lot of room on the table. bring that with you and be like, hey, you and your friends go play bingo. I'd love to meet up with you sometime. I love playing bingo. Bring that with you. You don't even have to honestly tell them ahead of time. Just bring it with you. Odds are, if they're a regular customer with you, they probably already have, hopefully, a rewards link set up with you, and that's just an added bonus. But you want to make sure that you're being authentic, that this is something that's a genuine conversation that you're having with them. You want to get a feel of the situation, especially if you're talking to somebody that is a newer customer of yours. You really want to take the time, first and foremost, to get to know them a little bit more, so then that way you know what style of party to introduce them to. I've learned the hard way in the past that I don't necessarily, if I have newer customers, I'm not going to text them. I used to do this and I don't want to do this anymore. I used to message them and then literally give them this whole list. Be like, hey, I'm looking for a party host this week. Choose your party idea and get back with me. Blah, that's boring. First and foremost, I'm probably not, if it's me and I'm receiving that, I'm honestly probably going to skim over it. It's too much text. It doesn't feel personal. If you have a customer named Debbie, and Debbie loves to play bingo, my customer Debbie, I'm going to message her and be like, hey, are you still playing bingo? I'd love to be able to meet up with you. I have a little bit more free time this season, this month. I'd love to be able to meet up with you. Let them respond. Then if you end up meeting up with them, text that person like the day before, the day of, just be like, hey, I can't wait to come play bingo with y'all. By the way, I'm going to bring this with me. It has a couple of smell goods in it. I'm bringing a catalog. If you have anybody that's coming to play bingo with you, maybe we can smell some scents in between sessions on our break, because if you play bingo before, there's a break in between 2 different sessions. During the break, or if you actually get there like an hour earlier, which I know that my friends do, so that way they can grab a bite to eat, chat it up before we play bingo. That's where this is going to come in handy. Bring it with you. They're not going to mind. It's not like you're asking them to sign up for insurance. No offense to those that sell insurance, but it's not like you know what I mean? It's not like you're asking them to go to the dentist. It's not something painful and dreadful. I feel like that if you talk about it way in advance and it's like, oh, I don't know about that. And let me get back to you. But if you give them like a 24 to 40 hour notice in that case, they're not going to say no, because let's be honest, all of us, if you're watching this video, more likely you like smell goods. So they're not going to turn you down on it, especially if they don't have to do a whole lot, right? All right. So on my list too, I talked about, again, like meeting for coffee, taking a smell break, even something like this, or the bag I'm about to show you here in a little bit. If you have somebody that has a break room at their workplace, ask them. You never know. You don't know if they're going to say no until you ask, you guys. Just be like, hey, I'm in your area, or honestly, it's better if you're delivering an order to them, but otherwise just message them and be like, hey, again, you always want to do like what I call like a compliment sandwich, right? I think you probably have heard that before. A compliment sandwich. So if you haven't heard that term before, basically what that is that you're giving somebody a compliment in between, you're asking typically something from them, and then you're giving them another compliment, or you're following up with like, thank you so much, I appreciate you. You get the idea. So when you're reaching out to somebody that has like a workplace, for example, that has like a desk, or they have like, not a desk, but they have like a break room of some sorts, no matter what their profession is, then you can ask them like the day before. Again, make sure that the small, to me, in my opinion, the smaller the window that you're asking them, the more likely they're going to say yes. Especially if it's the day of, or specifically like the day before. Be like, hey, I'm already going to be in your area tomorrow or today. I have this little bag with some smell goods. I'd love to be able to drop it off to you. You can leave it in your break room. Literally, the less information that you give them, the better off you'll be. Keep it super vague to begin with. You don't have to give them all the details in the beginning. Don't word vomit to them. Again, take it from somebody that has learned from personal experience, because I always felt like the more information that I gave them, the better off everyone will be. But the thing is that I have to put myself in that position. And again, spicy brain here. So if I'm getting a text like that and it looks like a whole chapter's worth, I'm like, oh my God. And I'm literally going to start from the top, skim over the middle, go to the bottom. Even if that, and be like, I'll just come back to this later on, because even if like I have the time, my brain is telling me otherwise that I don't. So keep the shorter, the better. You can feed them a little bit of information at the time. You don't have to give them everything all at once. Another couple examples on here again is like what I just said, pop up at work. That could look different for you. I know that in the past, because during 2020, 2021, we weren't really doing a lot of in-person stuff, right? Now, I know I wasn't doing any vendor events per se, so I had to really think outside the box. And one of the ideas that I got from a couple of fellow Scentsy friends of mine was setting up what I had, whether that was samples, whether that was my personal products, because I did events. So whatever that looks like for you, setting up your trunk space, basically you're bringing the party to them, but you're setting it up in your trunk. So I know that I've done that before, where I pulled up to like their place of business and I was like, hey, when is your lunch break? This actually worked really well for me with one of my good friends / customers that was a nurse, because I was like, hey, when are you taking your lunch break? When she took her lunch break, there was also a handful, if not more, of her friends and colleagues that were on their lunch break. I set up, I was like, hey, this is the parking spot that I'm in. I remember like I backed my car up, opened my trunk space, and then I had like a sniff session set up in my trunk space. Like I had samples for them to take. I had catalogs for them. I had my testers for them to smell. I had maybe about 3 or 4 of my own personal products that I had purchased through the new catalog season set up for them to see if they wanted to place an order with me. And it was a lot of fun. It got them out of their workplace. They were already coming downstairs for their break. It was a lot of fun. I love a good theme. I say this all the time to those that know me. I love a good theme. So if you can come up with like a themed party, the better. Especially, again, if you know your customer and you know what they like, you know what their hobbies are, you know what their favorite holiday is, or maybe what their favorite sports team is. Base it around that theme. I'll give you an example. I had somebody that placed an order with me today, and I had a conversation with her because, of course, I wanted to follow up, thank her for her order. And she's like, hey, I know that you had mentioned in the party, because she was a guest in a party from last month. She's like, I know that you mentioning that you were looking for a potential host. I don't really know if I want to host now, but she said, my husband really likes Halloween and the fall season. What if it's okay with you, what if I host closer to that time? I said, that's perfect. I'll make a note of it for you, which I did several places, because again, spicy brain. I made a note of it. I actually even took it a step further and scheduled a text out. If you have an Android phone, you can do that. I scheduled a text out to send to her. Literally scheduled it for, I think, the first week or second week of August, and was asking just that. I reminded her, of course, of the conversation that we had now. So I was like, hey, just checking in. Hope you have a good day. Or hope you're having a good day. You and I spoke back in April about you hosting a fall Halloween themed party. And then I scheduled that text out to send to her then. Because that's awesome, right? Because yes, it would be all the more exciting, of course, for her to host a party now, because that would make sense otherwise. But I know that because she said that her and her husband love Halloween, she's going to be more involved in the party, no matter what that looks like, whether it's online, whether it's in person. 2, I know for a fact that she said that her husband loves our Halloween products. So that tells me that he's going to be excited to get most of those Halloween products on his wish list for half off or free. Therefore, that tells me that he's going to more likely with her push for a higher sales goal for their party, right? Because he knows at this point, or he'll know later on this year, that they'll be able to get most of their products, if not for free, at a half price discount, right? Because they're hosting a party with me. So I think that's so awesome. I love a good theme. If you're familiar, by the way, on a side note with ChatGPT, and you're just like, oh, I'm stuck, I don't know, I can't come up with themes, think about what month we're in. Go to ChatGPT and say, hey, give me 4 party ideas for the month of April. And then see what it comes up with. And then that way, once it comes up with those ideas, go back to your customer base list and start listing those with those themes that you're like, oh, so-and-so would really love this kind of theme. So like, for example, we're in the spring season, what else is going on? We've got, Oh gosh, what else? Oh, like for example, if you're watching this during the month of April, we have National Pet Day is April 11th, which is actually tomorrow. So National Pet Day. So you could just say like National Pet Month. Let's meet at the dog park. What else am I thinking? So, the whole theme of like April showers, bring May flowers. If you're like myself, we just finished up, we'll be finishing up today with our flower bed and putting new plants out and flowers and remulching. So if you know somebody that loves plants, that loves flowers, loves that kind of thing, that can even be a theme. Now, lastly, a new party concept that I've done recently, that I've done once, and it was a lot of fun, and I'm hoping to get a little bit more interest on, especially this is specifically for those hosts of yours that may either live further out of town or maybe perhaps not really sure if they want to meet in person, so you're offering them like an online concept. Again, I'm not as crazy about Facebook parties, but an alternative to that is an email party. Now, if you're not familiar with that concept, odds are you're already on YouTube. So when you're done with this video, click into the search engine and then just type in Scentsy email party. You should be able to find a training video on that. If not, if you are a Scentsy consultant, I highly recommend checking out the Thursday night shift group as well. Same thing, type in email party, and then that information should come up as well in there. What else? So at the end of my flyer, I did have where it said my contact information, and because I was at a vendor event, I said book a party today and receive a free goodie from me. So being that I was at a vendor event, I had a box set up with randomized full-size products, and then that way if somebody did actually book a party with me, it was a incentive that they could pick out a product from the box and they would actually receive that from me. And that was if they booked a party in person that day. It didn't matter when they booked a party with me, just as long as they booked a date or a month with me, that's when they would receive the gift. Now, I did get some questions before when I mentioned this in another group, that if I gave them the physical product at that point in person, the answer was that I did plan on, yes, handing out the full-size product to them in person. That's something I've never done before. I definitely was taking a leap of faith, but I also made sure that these products that I had, either I had gotten like in my whip box, or I had like host rewards that I put towards them, or most of the products, honestly, I had received at World Tour. So that was something that I was more than fine with because it was newer products. It was something different, but to each their own. I mean, if you wanted to, I know that I typically will do, especially if I'm not at a vendor event, if I'm having a conversation like on my phone, for example, with somebody that does want to host with me or is thinking about hosting. At that point, what you would want to do is be like, hey, thank you so much for wanting to host, or thank you for thinking about hosting. By the way, I'm offering an incentive. Now, the incentive could actually be that with a qualifying party, qualifying meaning 250 PRV or more, you could gift them, which you should, gift them the perpetual party reward. That's what that is for. Or if you have a current party going on and you have somebody book a party within that, that's where that past, okay, sorry, that sounded really confusing. So like, for example, I have a host that hosted a party in March, right? She had a party guest that wants to book a party later into the year. So I know that when she hosts her party come September, the original host, Denisa, will receive a half off credit with a perpetual party reward from that party. Hopefully that makes sense, because that's what that whole perpetual party reward is actually supposed to be used for, just FYI. All right, so the last thing we're going to talk about one more thing. So this is kind of not important, but I just wanted to show y'all this that I do. So when I have my restaurant parties, this is actually, I think I want to say I got this, I don't know, I think I either got this at Walmart or Target. I don't remember. But it's just a little Lazy Susan. I got it for $5. But y'all know what a Lazy Susan is. Hopefully, if not, look it up online. But I will put the full-size products on here, so it sits like that on the table. And that when I'm at a restaurant, anybody who's there at the table can spin it around and look at the products. Therefore, they don't actually have to get out of their chair, per se, to look at everything. All right, so before we wrap this up, let's go over real quick this little party tote idea. Again, something that I cannot stress enough is that your bag can look like whatever you want it to look like. In fact, I ordered the full set of testers for this month's catalog season. The testers are out of the bag because I like to organize them. I put them in another case, okay? So that bag is empty. That bag I could repurpose and do just what I'm about to show you. It does not matter what your bag looks like. Use whatever you have on hand. I just so happened to order this one from Amazon because I honestly liked the individual pockets for it. In fact, if it's still available, I'll probably post the link in the description of this specific training in case you want to check it out. Okay, so one little thing that I like to add to the bag is a little pizzazz. I love sunflowers, and that's honestly one of the biggest way that I connect with potential customers. So I took the little clip that we got not too long ago that was available for sale, and I put that one there. Honestly, if you have a buddy clip that has a scent still left on it, highly recommend putting that one on there. Otherwise, it's all good. It's okay. It's really for decoration. So I had some samples. So whatever samples you have on hand, you can put in the pockets. Honestly, I don't really feel like I have to go through all the products that's in this bag, but whatever products you have on hand, especially highly recommend the ones that are used products in your house. So for example, as you can see, I mark it used. So this is actually my personal Scentsy Fresh. So this is just Luna. It does not even matter what fragrances they are. Again, the more variety of products that you can put in this bag, the better. I don't focus on wax as much, but whatever you have on hand, but the better off you'll be if you're not I don't recommend putting in there like brand new products. The only thing I have in there that I feel like that is brand new is I just so happen to put an older fragrance flower in there just because. But it does not matter what products you put in. I put a wall fan. I put the pods already inside the wall fan, so it's ready to go. But I did put the actual like pod pack on the back side of the bag. Again, this is used. This was in my bathroom. This is the hand soap. But whatever products you have on hand, put them in there. The other thing I'll go over real quick before we wrap this up is the packet that I put in here. So aside from your products in your bag, and again, this bag will definitely be something that if you have a host, if again, like break room, so think about a break room with your host. If you have, if the holidays are up and coming and you know, or somebody that you know that's, sorry, I just went blank. If you have somebody that's a customer of yours that's going on a trip soon, this is something that they can take as well. The reason being that I say put used products in there for them to try and use is, again, if the bag gets lost, if something happens to it, I'm not sweating it because I'm keeping it simple. Would I like the bag? Yes, that would be awesome because that's something I am going to establish with my host ahead of time. Be like, hey, use the products. You're fine. All I ask is that I get the bag back. Now, if they return some of the products to you, great, that's awesome. But if they want to keep some of the products, that's okay too, because they're used products, okay? You have to decide that on your own, whether you want the products back or if they keep them. Now, for me personally, that's a conversation I'll have with my host where I'll be like, hey, anything that's marked used, you're more than welcome to keep. Otherwise, I need everything else back because there are items in here like my mini warmer and my wall fan that I absolutely do want back. But I'm giving it to them for a week to try. They can bring it home, try the products out, bring it to work, share it with others. It's totally up to them. But you do want to encourage them to bring it with them to work or share it with friends and families, not necessarily just keep it for themselves. So this would be something that otherwise I don't necessarily would say that I would give this to somebody that's going to keep it at the house and don't really plan on doing anything with it. If they're like, yeah, I can take it to work, or yeah, I'm going over to my family's for on vacation, or for, Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving, or I'm going over to my in-laws for lunch and there'll be some other people there. We're having a picnic, barbecue, whatever the case, that bag is for that. However, if you have somebody that's going to more likely bring it home with them, you can do a simple bag like this and then have like one product, so like a wall fan or something of the sort, just one product for them to borrow out for like a week or two, use it, be like, hey, I'd love to be able to drop this off at your house for you to try out. I'm gonna let you borrow it out. Think of like the library, right? Like they're checking out a book, but they're checking out a Scentsy product with you. I actually have a bin to my left-hand side here in my closet closet that's of used products. So it's things that can be, it says borrow out products. So it's got like a wall fan, it's got a mini warmer, things like that. Not like a fragrance flower, right? So it's going to be products that we have to put something in other words. So that's going to be our fan products. It's going to be a full-size warmer, a mini warmer, things of that matter, that, or a diffuser, even air purifier, whatever, you guys, that they can borrow out, and then you are going to go pick it back up from them and set that date, set that expectation with them. So this is the last thing that I put in my bag. So this again can be whatever you want it to look like. I got this idea from a friend of mine where I took scrapbook paper and it's a full sheet of scrapbook paper, and you fold the bottom down or up, you fold the bottom up, and then you put stickers, or I just put tape on the sides, close it in. It creates a little booklet, which is so cute, not expensive at all. So with the scrapbook paper, again, you always want to have a pen or two in your bags. I have order forms. I did actually put a catalog in here. Inside the catalog is where you want to put your scratch and stiff stickers, your host information, if you have like a join flyer or anything like that. I love to go through the catalog and purposely put those papers in, or your flyers in the catalog. So for example, when my customers and their party guests flip through the catalog to the new fragrances, that's where the scratch and stiff stickers are going to be. So that way it creates a little bit more of an experience for them. It's just those extra details. There's order forms. I don't know if y'all can see. There's order forms on the back side. Again, they all have my contact information on it. This is something that I printed out at home that I created through Canva, but it's basically my own little, like, my story, join information. It's like a trifold flyer. In fact, I'll open it up here in a little bit before I wrap this training up. I have my monthly my monthly newsletter. Again, you can decide whatever it is that you're putting in something like that. And the last thing is I usually do put a scent circle in there. This is something too that if you're doing like a bingo party in person, or you're doing a restaurant party, home party, you can actually make up a couple of these as well and then pass them out to your party guests. So I'll just open it up real quick. This is actually just one-sided. I wanted to have it double-sided originally, which I do now, but in the moment, I'm not gonna lie, full transparent, I was in a hurry when I did this little party bag, and I just printed it out one-sided just to get the point as an example. But I copy and pasted this from my PWS, my personal website with Scentsy. So this is actually on my website. And then, of course, I added, it's Canvas, so I added my personal touches of photos, one with like Heidi and Orville from last year. I talked about, another little fun fact for y'all too is that if you go on your Scentsy website, most everything that's on that website, y'all can actually save and use it for your marketing for yourself, especially through like Canva or Photify, whatever you're designing. Like for example, these little facts about joining, I got from our website. You can save it, copy and paste it, make it your own. Again, I love sunflowers, so there's a lot of like sunflower detail. There, you can see it. There's a lot of sunflower detail on here, which is really cute. But that's the other item that I put in there too. Another thing that you can add into that little booklet, if you have it on hand with you, or you can print it off from your workstation, is the scent of the month, warmer of the month information as well. If you have a business card, you can add that in. Again, it doesn't actually have to look exactly like mine, but I know that from my personal experience, I like seeing things like that, so that way I can get kind of a template idea to be able to make it my own. That's pretty much about it. I don't think that there was anything else that I needed to cover. If you have any other ideas for party concepts, feel free to comment below. There's a lot of consultants, a lot of people that are probably going to come across this video at one point or another, and the more ideas that we can share, the better off we'll be, because sharing is caring. I know, as cheesy as it sounds, it is so true. In fact, I'm looking for my tea because I'm like, now I'm getting thirsty. But thank y'all so much for hanging out. If you have any questions about any of the party ideas that I shared with you, again, feel free to reach out to me one-on-one. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. You can do it on YouTube here as well. Or if you're with Team Faith and Soul and you're seeing this video, reply back, text me, and then ask me too. But thank y'all so much for hanging out. One of the things that you would for sure help me with is not only giving me a thumbs up on this video. If you found anything throughout this training time useful to you, feel free to share this with your team, share this with your your friends. Give them a couple ideas as well. That'll help me too. If you want to stay in the loop for future training videos, you can go to the top of this page and hit the subscribe button as well. That helps me out so much too. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. So thank y'all so much for hanging out with me again. I hope you have an incredible week. And until next week, bye y'all.